Hey friend, I thought let's have a little bit of fun today. Let me show you around and let's go on a little tour of our home library. So our home library is situated in my son's room and it's not super big, but I really like what we have. And today I thought let's have a bit of fun and just show you how we organize our home library, what we have in it. And I find these types of videos really helpful for me to find book ideas. And so I thought it probably can help someone else. Let's see what you can find in this video and let me know in the comments. What books do you find that you really want to add to your shelves, or what organizational tips do you have? Let's first talk about organization. So I want to show you how we organize by different categories and also some display tips that really help with little kids finding books. Right off the bat, I made a big mistake when I purchased our bookshelves. We have one bookshelf that is awesome. It has enough room on it for really tall books. And if you have a lot of different sizes and books, you want to pay attention to your tallest books and the bookshelf type that you're going to need. This bookshelf over here, unfortunately, has very uniform heights to each shelf, but that means it can only hold certain types of books, and I don't have enough books at this point to really fill that one up. So we have these two types of bookshelves, and learn from my mistake. And then we also have two more types. This is our display bookshelf, one of them. And in this one, I like to display books that I want my boys to be focusing on, or that we are focusing on for different units in our homeschool, or just different topics like times of the year and holidays. This is really fun because they can see the covers and they can recognize which book it is and pick it out themselves. They're not reading yet, so they can't read the spines of the book. So this is really important, actually. And we have some extra space here that I haven't really filled up yet, but if you know me, we're gonna fill it up pretty soon. Now, we are bilingual, and so we have a bunch of Portuguese books, and I don't want them to get lost in all of the other books. Although it might be helpful to have them mixed, I think it's also helpful for them to get noticed by putting them in a display bookshelf. And this one is a very simple one. I think we got it for less than $20. And it's just a canvas on a wooden frame. And so we just put the books in the slots there, really easy for the boys to grab. And again, it shows them the titles and the pictures so that they can recognize the books. It's probably a bit too full at this point. I should probably get two of these or a larger one. But I really enjoy this, and I noticed a huge difference when we started using this type of bookshelf for the books that are bilingual. I noticed that my boys actually were interested in them and actually picked them out, whereas before they almost never picked out these books. So we're reading more in Portuguese now because we have this bookshelf. Something so simple, but it's so powerful. I organize my books by different categories. I don't know exactly why that is, maybe just my lifelong fascination with libraries, but it is really helpful. Rather than having everything all mixed in together, it's nice to have different categories because it creates a smaller grouping of books for my boys to sort through and myself. But also, if we're wanting to focus on a certain topic, I can find it really quickly. One thing I really appreciate about organizing books in categories is that it helps us to have a variety of books. So if my books are all lumped together, I don't get to see how much we have in each category, and sometimes it's really lopsided. We might really tend toward board books and lift the flat books, but might not have a bunch of classics or Bible books or science or art or music or any of those things. So I really like that I can just look really quickly and see, oh, maybe we should round out this section more. Maybe we should have more books about the fables and the fairy tales and all of that. So let me just give you a quick overview of the types of categories that we have at this point for small kids books. And in the future, of course, we'll have to add more categories, but right now this is really working well. So just a quick overview of the different types of categories that we have on our shelves. We keep a section for poetry, also a section for body safety and just body education, and beginning of teaching about sexuality. Then we have a shelf for art and music together. I have videos about each of those categories and our favorites there. On the bottom here, we have a section actually just of books to build a parent-child bond, a strong bond there. Things like Runaway Bunny and Guess How Much I Love You. And then our wordless picture books, I also have another video about those if you're interested in those types of books, but those are really valuable. This is our bookshelf of Bible storybooks. We also have the Little Pilgrim's Book Journey here and Arch Books Treasuries. We use the books in the middle most often, but we love all of them. Then we have more Bible books here explaining more theology, things like theology, and A Child's First Book of Marriage is a theology of marriage. We could have some of these books in other sections. All throughout our bookshelf, I feel like many of the books could fit in different categories. Like this could go in the section about body safety and beginning of talks about sexuality. But I put it here because I feel like it's more a theology of marriage book. And then we can just find it and use it. A book that I wrote, and then several gospel books. Wow, The Good News in 4 Words, Jesus Saves. We have The Topsy-Turvy Kingdom. It's kind of an early apologetics book, and then just some fun Bible story books. Read It, See It, Say It, Sing It, and our Tales That Tell the Truth series. Next shelf, we have our Christian biographies. So I've made a video about our favorites from this category, and we have Living Lights, YWAM, Young Heroes for Young Readers series. We have a few Sunlight books in here. And then we have Voice of the Martyrs Courageous series. We love all of those. Down here, we have a small bookshelf that we just put our board books on, and some other small books I can just pop into a diaper bag when we need to go someplace. Here are our science and math books, and yes, we do have a science and math shelf for our 3.5-year-old and 2-year-old, and we love it. And we don't have like a lot of textbooks here. We actually just have Preschool Math at Home is the only textbook on this shelf, but instead we have storybooks that teach these things. And maybe in the future I'll make a video about this, but let me know if that's helpful. We have a kind of hodgepodge shelf. This is where we have classics of children's literature and also just some fun books. You might notice on this shelf we have, of course, Richard Scarry and Dr. Seuss and Robert McCloskey and Patricia Polacco. These types of books are here. Little Engine That Could. Above that shelf, we have our social studies shelf, and I don't have this shelf grouped by countries quite yet because we don't have enough books really to do that, but it is helpful to have a shelf dedicated to this. Many of the books on our other shelves could also be put here. It just depends on how we're using them at the time. We also have our TCK books on this shelf, and I do have a video all about those, so I won't show you here. You can check that out if you're interested. This is our anthology shelf, and I also have a video about anthologies. Oh my word, I make so many videos about books. Maybe I like them or something. And I don't exactly like that this is on the top shelf because these are heavier books. It would be ideal to have them on the bottom shelf, but they don't fit. Like I said, problem with our bookshelf. So this is my solution, and usually I'm reading them with my boys rather than them picking them out themselves. So now, I do put books on display on our bigger bookshelves as well. Just like at a library, I like to show the books or ones that we don't read as often, bring some attention to them. There is a very good reason why libraries put books up like that. You notice them and you check them out. Also, it can have a theme for the seasons, but it just helps because when my boys look at this shelf, for example, it's pretty crowded and they can't see the covers and they don't know the words, and so they might just back off or pull them all off of the shelf. So it just helps with keeping things neat and tidy. Here I have our Christmas and winter books. I want to put those all together to see how much we have. Next to it we have fairy tales and fables. We have several different collections. I really want to find a better one. I'm thinking in the future of doing a video all about comparing different fairy tale books. If you think that would be helpful, let me know. It would be in the vein of my nursery rhymes books video where you just look inside of them and hear a brief summary of what they're like. Then below that, we have our Usborne Very First Question series. These get read all of the time, and I think they're so worth it. Buying them used, new, whatever, you get your hands on them. And then our Lift the Flap Peep Inside books. Below that we have board books, and we have some traditional ones, Eric Carle ones I group all together, and then we have our interactive books all grouped together. So things like mix and match books, pop-up books, books with mirrors, books with felt parts. Okay, I'm going through this and my son is just stealing all the books because he loves them. As is that? Truck. This bookshelf looks so sad right now, and I want to fill it with more, so I really would love book suggestions. But let me show you just a few things that are on it. We have books about money skills. Yes, Stephen, thank you for showing me. And my son, who's 3.5, loves reading these. Okay, thanks. Thanks, that's good close-up. And then we have books about character, like contentment especially is one of them, Where Happiness Lives. Nope, I don't need to see it up close, thank you. This is a really big favorite, The King's Ship. Then we have Be Kind, and Aliki has good books about feelings and manners, and then we also have Richard Scarry's Manners book. So one observation about books this small is that it's really easy for them to get lost on the bookshelf among other books, and because they're so thin, they can get pushed actually inside of other books when other books are being put back on the shelf. So I have a bookshelf just for them, their own section, because I don't want them to get lost in the shuffle. You might notice that with your smaller books, you need to do something like that. Beside them, we have early readers. I don't have phonics readers yet. I'm looking for some. Let me know your recommendations. We have things like The Fire Cat, Little Bear, and Arthur. I grew up with these books, and my boys love them a lot. So one book that we love from this section is A Kiss for Little Bear. It's so fun. I had never heard of it before. I highly recommend that book. Which one do you like? Peter Pan. That one's not Peter Pan. Paddington. And loving, See how important the covers are to them? They actually remember the words once they see the covers. Elephant and Piggy. Yeah. The other important thing is that everything is at their height. So for my younger son, not exactly easy to access, but both of them can reach all of the books. If they're up too high, that can be good for keeping books safe, but nope. If they're up too high, that can be good for keeping books safe, but it means that they won't get read as often. Oops. Thanks so much for joining me for this video today and not minding that this English teacher is just nerding out over books and book displays and bookshelves. I really appreciate you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Ciao. Ciao.